welcome on in, Summoners. Greetings from Canada. My name is Jax. I am one of your community managers, and thank you for joining us for another official Marvel Contest of Champions live stream here on twitch.tv/kabam and on our official Marvel Contest of Champions YouTube page as well. Welcome on in, Summoners. It is a mid-month stream. That's right. June was so exciting that we had to break up all of the content into two separate streams. We had a big stream last week, in the middle of the week. Thank you to everybody who came to that one. We will be diving into some more excellence that you can come to expect from the Battle Realm in the next couple of weeks. But thank you so very much for being here, Summoners. Please, if this is your first time ever in one of our streams, hop into the chat and let us know where you are tuning in from. We are very excited to see the international reach that we have, pulling in together people from all over the world. Like, we've got Ghost XD here from Poland. We've got War King 86 in England. We've got Skada live from their house. We've also got Chief Gatti in Chicago, Stefanos in Greece. We've got Mamba in New York City. Welcome everybody. Zainless is in Malaysia. That is awesome. And welcome on in, everybody. Again, it is so cool to see just how many people we reach around the world with our game. It is so fun to bring the community together. This is my favorite way to hang out with you all. We're going to go over the ground rules before we get too deep into today's show, because we've got some fun stuff coming up. We're going to be talking about Battlegrounds and a victory track / medal update, a couple of different updates to Battlegrounds. We're going to go over something new, a super event, so to say, for later in June. And then we'll be talking about what you guys can expect as we go from June into July. Of course, we will be doing a promo code giveaway. A limited time promo code will be available at the end of the stream, so stick around until the end for all of that goodness as well. But again, let's back up to the ground rules here. There is one rule and one rule only. If this is your first time here, this might be news to you, but if you know it, say it with me. Don't be a jerk. That's it. It should be easy. Don't be a jerk. This is a game. It's supposed to be fun. Myself and every other person in this room, we're so fortunate. We get to live and work in fun. You guys are here because you love something, you're passionate about it. I understand that can result in anger and frustration. Totally valid, but this is not the space for that. Please be respectful of each other. We're all just here to have a good time, learn a little something, and get excited about the contest. All right, so if you choose to break our one and only rule, our very simple rule, it should be so easy to follow. You can just sit there and do nothing. You know what I mean? If you were to break that rule, which seems foolish because we're giving away free stuff and you might miss it, we do have our mods hanging out in the chat. Shout out to our mods, keeping us safe, keeping the chat flowing, keeping things entertaining and smooth here. We couldn't do without them. Thank you to all of you. We will be pulling some Q&A throughout the stream today, so if you guys have any questions, please tag @KabamTwitchED or @Kabam here on the Twitch stream. Again, we are live on the YouTube, but on the YouTube channel. Well, you kids in the YouTubes, we are live on the official MCOC YouTube channel, but all of our interaction is over here on Twitch, so I encourage you to hop over here and make a quick account. Takes 30 seconds or less, twitch.tv/kabam. That's where we're going to be pulling questions. That's where I'm reading your comments here, and that's where we do typically all of our giveaways and things as well. So hop on over. It should take you no time at all. Again, if you have any questions throughout the show, please tag @KabamTwitchED or @Kabam. We'll pull some and try and answer some of your burning questions, because you might have some. Today's going to be a bit of a shorter stream. We're usually like 60 to 90. We're going to be tighter to 60 today just to set expectations for you. But without further ado, please welcome back to the show, longtime guest, recurring guest, basically a co-host at this point. Please say hello to John. John, welcome on in. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing okay.
Yeah?
Oilers lost again last night. So.
This is going to be real niche, the crossover MCOC and hockey fans. Yeah. It's there.
I saw a Florida fan in chat already. I have nothing against you, but man, it's tough. It's a rough time in Canada.
It's a tough time. This is the thing that we Canadians most will feel very passionately about. Most of you will not care. Shout out to GABEG, who says, "Go Red Wings." Your time, in the future. But right now, Oilers, they're struggling.
Yeah, I mean, they've won 4 games in a row at some point this year, I'm sure, but winning 4 in a row on demand seems pretty tough.
That seems tough.
I was actually going to try to go to Game 6. I'm glad I didn't get tickets now, because I'd have a flight to Edmonton with nothing to do, probably.
6?
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully they can pull it out.
Nice. Well, it's good to have you here, hanging and talking what's new and exciting in the contest. You're looking spiffy as all heck.
Thank you.
Definitely upstaged me a little bit. Once upon a time, Aiden wore suspenders to the show, and I yelled at him because he looked too cool, and it made me look bad. But
I was actually going to wear a Venom T-shirt under this blazer today, but I forgot to do my laundry last night. So
that's all it was.
I decided to dress it up instead.
I have a shelf of like 15 T-shirts back here because we did like the mystery box opening and the 9 days of giveaways last year, which was really fun. But if you ever need a shirt, you let me know.
I'll let you know.
But yeah, looking great. You also got a very cool community-created pin, which is rad.
Oh yeah, I don't know if they can see it all the way out there. Yes, it's the little Aegon pin from Cat Murdoch. I own a bunch of Cat's art, full-size prints, fridge magnets that my kids use to play out Marvel battles on a refrigerator. So yeah, go support Cat on her Etsy store. It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, lots of good stuff over there. Now, John, before we dive too much into today's content, I know you've been here many times. I know many of you summoners are familiar with John and John's work, but if anyone's here for their first time, John, who are you and why should they care?
Hey everyone, if it is your first time, nice to meet you. I am John, aka Kabam Crashed, and I am a member of the design team. What do? I am part of the team responsible for stitching the game together, basically into a coherent whole for summoners.
And I think you do a great job. We brought you in, I mean, we've brought you in many, many times, but I think to me one that stands out in terms of like what do people interact with that you can kind of put your name to a little bit more is like you brought in Sagas for the first time. And again, you pass that information through us, but I know internally you've been very necessary to pull and thread all of the pieces together. So you do so much, but we talked Sagas at the beginning of the month as well. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a huge team effort, as I said on the last stream, to pull things like Sagas together. And it's a new concept for us, and honestly, the role that I'm in now is a new role as well. We haven't really had a team responsible for actually stitching the game together. In the past, when the game was smaller, maybe it wasn't as important, but now that the game's so large, we decided we need people responsible for trying to, again, simplify and make it feel more coherent for players.
I just wanted to back up. Integral was the word I was looking for.
Thank you.
And I went with necessary, but integral was the right one. Okay, and I swear last question, we'll dive into today's content because we got some cool things to talk about. I missed an opportunity on the last stream. You were rocking the X-Men shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Did you finish X-Men 97? What were your thoughts?
I did. It was incredible. So I watched it with my 4-year-old. We went back and rewatched the entire series.
Yeah.
I discovered after about 5 minutes of the first episode that it was completely about genocide, which is a little bit of a topic for a 4-year-old. He found a lot of it quite scary and frightening.
I did too.
But I think they really did the X-Men justice with the new series. It is absolutely phenomenal. They did an incredible job of so much, but the one thing that stood out to me is how they made all of the X-Men awesome. Like, in the original series, Cyclops, for instance, he was kind of just like a pylon. Like, he kind of stood there and shot his laser beam. And the new one, he's shooting himself around the room. He's landing from an airplane.
It's nuts.
Yeah, so they did an awesome job of, like, him and Jubilee and some of the other characters. Just they really did it justice.
Yeah, I felt like awesome. the creative team behind it just understood intimately X-Men, the characters, the stories, there was such a level of care and passion there, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil too much, but they really also leaned into that theme of persecution and be different, and I really, really appreciate it. So at the end of the day, it ended up being like a fantastic lesson for my 4-year-old.
That's true.
But yeah, they did an awesome job.
That's great. No, I loved it a lot. Speaking of things I love a lot, let's talk about Battlegrounds, John. We brought you back because we've got some very cool things. Again, mid-month changes that we're very, very excited about. So let's talk a little bit more about arcade games.
Sure. So before we get into specific changes that we're going to talk about today, this is basically part 2 of the presentation from last stream. I just wanted to talk about the design goals again because I think they're really critical to understanding the work that we're going to talk about today. Again, simplicity, the game has become too large for most of our players, and so we're trying to simplify. Approachability, this is the idea that more of our content and more of our modes should be for more players. And clarity, the idea that players should really understand what they're going to get out of playing our game. Why should they come into our game and play every day? Why should they play a specific game mode? Being more clear about that.
Yeah, let's spell it out for everyone, you know what I mean? Like, part of my job as a community manager is to communicate all of the pieces of our side quest, our events and things, and when those documents get longer and longer, it becomes more difficult for me, which means it's definitely more difficult for you all trying to understand and play and find that through line. So, that level of clarity that we're working towards and simplicity is just there. Let's spell it out for you. Let's make it as easy as possible, which is very exciting. But again, Battlegrounds specific changes. We talked a little bit about this during our rehearsal that like Battlegrounds, I think, has such a wide perspective in terms of who cares, because there's the people at the top, incredibly competitive. They're in there every day, every season grinding, which is so cool to see. And then you get people all the way on the other spectrum, on the other end of the spectrum, who go in there every 2 days to clear up their objectives and they roll on, right? So I think balancing for both is a big challenge, which I think you guys do really well. So I think that's kind of a little bit of the consideration and the changes that we're going to see here, right?
Absolutely. Again, these are the goals of mostly approachability for Battlegrounds. We want it to be a more fun environment for more players. We know that there is a group of summoners for whom Battlegrounds is the most important part of the game. It's the part of the game they love. It is my favorite mode. I have not been shy about saying that, but we know for a large group of summoners that isn't the case. So how can we make it more approachable for more players? That's where these changes are going.
I think it's great. And we also kind of talked about like, what was the game before we had Battlegrounds? You know what I mean? I feel like it changed the contest so substantially that everybody, in some capacity, interacts with it along the way. So these are changes that are going to be very positive to a lot of people. I feel like maybe we're scaring people with the amount of preamble that we're doing.
Let's get into it.
It's going to be good stuff here. Let's go.
It's good. Yeah, it's all good. So just a couple things that I talked about last time. Just want to do a very quick refresher. The Saga Chase, the Magnetron crystals, those have been moved out of the victory track and into the bi-daily win one objective for Season 19. So this will only be Season 19, and there will be one crystal in each of those objectives. There are 14 total over the course of the season, one every 2 days, and you'll just have to win one Battlegrounds match every 2 days. As we said last time, these objectives do not stack. You do have to do it once every 2 days. But there are a few extra Magnetron crystals compared to what's needed to complete the event this saga. So if you miss one or two, it's not the end of the world.
There you go. We like that a lot. And
there is a deathless piece at the top of the victory track.
We did
that. That's okay. And we did that with a past deathless champion as well, deathless guillotine, but it's different this time. And I'm going to talk about why that's the case. So the victory track players got a very quick.
Sorry on the slideshow, everybody. That's on me.
All right. Players got a very quick preview of this in our patch notes, but basically the entire victory track is now win 2 medals for a win, lose 1 medal for a loss. So to accommodate this change, we've added medals, we've added tiers and rewards across the victory track and changed the way seeding works. Players will now seed down 8 tiers compared to 6 in the past. There's also a total of 9,400 more trophy tokens in the rewards to facilitate these extra tiers. Basically, by adding more tiers, what that does is it creates more floors for players. The tiers are a floor. Once you graduate from Silver 3 to Silver 2, you can't go back down even if you lose a bunch of games in a row. So basically, adding tiers makes it easier for summoners to climb. The end result of all of this, I'll talk about the details on the next slide. The end result of all of this, however, is that it's going to be faster for most summoners to climb the victory track, and it's going to be easier for most to climb as well. For some, it will be possible for the first time ever. So if you have a win rate of, let's say, 50%, in the past, you were technically able to climb. Your wins would cluster just due to luck, and you could eventually climb your way through some of the ranks. Now it's going to take, I believe it's less than half the number of matches that you would expect to climb out of the victory track with a 50% win rate. If you have a 45% or 40% win rate that you maintain, you'll be able to climb now, which in the past you basically were not able to.
That's great.
And all the way up to, even if you have something like a 70, 80% win rate, you're going to start to climb faster. Yeah, so it's good for almost everyone. I believe technically if you have like a very, very high win rate, you might need to play a couple extra matches, but there's also an extra 9,400 trophy tokens. So
yeah, we kind of talked about how this does lengthen the chase for people right at the top. But those are also the people that are playing hundreds and hundreds of games. So realistically, that impact is not really going to be felt so substantially, if at all, because you're already putting in the same work. And the other people that you're chasing with, you're on the same ground as them, right?
Yeah.
There's not an unfair advantage anywhere along here. You're just basically spending some of the time that you would have spent in Gladiator Circuit, a little bit more of it in Victory Track, earning the extra rewards along the way.
A little bit more, yeah. If you're someone who makes it to the Gladiator Circuit every season, like I just see this as free stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Extra free stuff.
Yeah, which is awesome. All right, if we can throw back to our slides here. Again, faster, easier, which is great. But to lay it out for everybody here.
Chat, please put more units in Arena. No, we will not be doing that.
We've talked about this on streams before.
That is the last place that you will see more units. Okay, so here are the details. I apologize for the graphic. This is from my spreadsheet or from our designer spreadsheet.
This is what data looks like, everybody. This is raw. We did not dress this up for you. We decided, hey, let's bring them right in. Also, I forgot. I'm kidding. That's not actually part of it.
So before I get into this, I actually just want to tell a little bit of a story and say a thank you. So when we first released Battlegrounds, we built a simulator to simulate the climb through the victory track, to basically figure out what it would be like for players of different win rates to make their way through the victory track, how many matches they would have to play, etc. We published Battlegrounds, we released Battlegrounds, and DNA wrote his own model, DNA 3000. Most players will know him from the forums. And our models lined up perfectly, which was great.
That's what you want to hear?
A couple weeks ago, I shared our tuning for the new victory track with DNA, and he ran it through his model, and the models didn't line up anymore. And so that was a problem. And through talking with him, we discovered a flaw in the model. And so just a thank you to DNA. I expect that he will be making a forum post talking about exactly how many matches it's going to take now compared to in the past. But yeah, let's talk about it a little bit. So this is the new victory track tuning for Season 19. A couple things you'll notice. Again, there are more tiers and there are more medals. However, this is actually very, very approachable. So look at the ranks of Diamond, for instance. In the past, you needed 3 medals to get through Diamond.
Yeah.
Now you're earning 2 for a win. So 4 medals in Diamond 5 and Diamond 4, that's the equivalent to 2 medals before.
That's less.
That's less.
That's less. That's what I like to see.
Odd-numbered medals are actually very forgiving. So for Diamond 3 and Diamond 2, for instance, you now still have to win 3 matches, as you did in the past, but now you get a free loss.
It's true.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Vibranium 1 at 7 medals is actually significantly less than the 5 that you used to have to win to get through a rank of Vibranium. So this is the tuning that we're going with for Season 19. I actually suspect that after we look at the data, this will be a little bit too easy to climb. I suspect, I'm just putting some expectations out there, we're probably going to end up adding a few more medals to Vibranium. But for now, we're going to roll with this. Again, there's that deathless piece at the top of the victory track. We wanted to make it as accessible as possible, given where it was. So we're going to roll with this tuning and see how it goes.
Yeah, and I shared with you that I maybe hit Diamond once. I enjoy Battlegrounds, but I definitely hit my plateau, and I fully understand that. But you said with these changes that you're feeling pretty confident that I could maybe make my way through the end of the victory track.
I think players who were able to make it to Diamond in the past should be able to climb their way into the Gladiator Circuit during Season 19. I also will say that we are not going to add additional tiers to the Gladiator Circuit right now. What I want to do is let this run for a couple seasons, figure out how we want the victory track to be tuned in terms of the number of medals, and then let it run for a couple seasons and see how many players are making it to the Gladiator Circuit. And if it is, you know, many tens of thousands, we'll be adding something below Uru at some point. But we're not going to be doing that right now. We're gonna let it run for a couple seasons. So yeah, I assume the Gladiator Circuit is just going to be very full at the end of next season.
It's a juicy Gladiator Circuit. Yeah. I wanted to pull in a question from chat here. Shout out to our mods for pulling them in. If you guys have any questions, at Kabam TwitchED or at Kabam in chat. Alpha Panda, great name, 333 says, how will the starting ranks work with the new changes? John, how does seeding work with these new
Sure, so the new Gladiator Circuit seeding is Diamond 5. That's the highest that you can be seeded. And outside of that ceiling for seeding, you will now seed down 8 tiers. It used to be 6, it is now 8.
Okay, and that'll be effective as of when the season starts on Wednesday.
That's correct.
Very cool, very cool. Thank you for your question, Alpha Panda. Again, if you have questions for us, make sure you're over here at twitch.tv/kabam. That is where we are pulling all of our Q&A from. Okay, so again, these changes, this chart, this beautiful, artistic, beautiful chart is positive. And again, I think this is why we wanted to make sure that we had this conversation. I know I saw some calls for when are we going to get the info for the next Battlegrounds season. I want to make my rank ups. We wanted to sit down and talk to you all because if you don't have this context and you look at this and you just see, oh, now it's longer and it's more medals, it's easy for you guys to find frustration there. We just wanted to make sure we communicated it to you as clearly as possible. This is a great move for pretty much everybody. Again, the only people that this would lengthen their chase are the people with incredibly high win records who are likely going to be playing many games anyways. Cool.
Yeah, I believe the forum post will be live later today. Is that correct?
It is ready to go. I just have to flip it at some point in the near future.
So players will learn about the Season 19 metas later today.
Yeah, it'll be great. If you guys are hanging out here and you're looking for a promo code, please stick around to the end of the show. That is when we will be putting out our our limited time promo code. All right, moving on through here. We're done with the Battlegrounds stuff. We're moving into something called the Daily Super Event.
Brand new, and this is a big initiative for us. So basically, the Daily Super Event, first time that we're announcing it publicly right now. What this is it is a new daily event that replaces a bunch of the mechanics in our game that encourage regular play.
Yeah, like your 22-hour events, your 7 events, your 7-hour events, sorry, your dailies, your weeklies, those types of things.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. We'll have a slide in a couple here that goes through exactly what it is. It will run as a test from June 24th to July 22nd for uncollected and above players. After that test, the plan is to take it down, turn all those other mechanics back on, take a look at the data. I think we're actually going to do a formal player survey as well to figure out if players like this. We'll look at the data to see if it resulted in more engagement. And then we'll decide if we want to move forward in this direction more permanently. I will say in advance, I know for sure there are going to be players who come to the forums and say, can we have both? Can we have all the old stuff and this new thing? You cannot. The purpose of this is, again, to simplify the game, and adding it on top of what's already there would do the opposite. So we are going to have to make a choice between this or something like this and the existing mechanics. If we do bring it back in a permanent fashion, I assume the tuning will be significantly different, but the overall direction players will understand by participating in this event. I did also want to say that this is not a direct mapping of rewards from all of these other things. It would result in this event giving out like hundreds of items, and we had no interest in that, again, because we wanted to simplify. Basically what we did was we took a look at all of those different mechanics that we're removing, what the value of them was, and then added value on top of that and tuned this event. Yeah,
speaking of value, it's an interesting peek behind the curtain that for a lot of people, I think it kind of summarizes well or explains away some of the questions that we get. Everything that you have in game has an internal value attached to it. We have economists who come together and literally create the in-game economy, and they balance it and they maintain it. So when you see things like your side quest rewards, and you're like, well, that's not. There's a budget that guides that process, that creative process. So when we say that we are taking things and adding value, it's literally that process for us. So as we're about to discuss, you're not getting everything. It's not a one-to-one translation over, but you are getting the same value by those metrics and then some. So that's kind of what we when we discuss value, that's kind of what we mean. So pulling in a couple of questions because we will address them soon, but just to get ahead of them here, Dragon5137 asks, is this a progression-based event? Yes, and we'll dive into that soon. I saw someone essentially say, unless I see the rewards, it's a pass from me. You're doing it by accident anyways. That's how your participation is. You're not going to be able to avoid this. You're going to get into it, and it's going to be great for you in that way.
Absolutely. We all understand on the game team that when it comes to something like this, the devil's in the details. The rewards will make or break it, and so we are going to share all of those rewards with you in a moment here.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pull in to our next page here. Why are we doing this?
Sounds good. So why are we doing this? Again, the goal is to simplify the game. And the concept here, the mantra for this project is, if I play every day, I will progress. So the way this event will work is it is basically set up so that the vast majority of stuff that you would do normally in the game will get you points towards it.
Yeah.
So you can come into the game, you can play it however you want every day. We're not being prescriptive. Like the 22-hour solo events are currently quite prescriptive. It's like you have to play arena or you have to play the event quest. With this event, you get points for playing almost everywhere. You also do still get points for leveling up champions. We're going to keep an eye on that. If players shortcut the event every single day by just using level up, we'll have to make the points worth less when we bring it back permanently, but you do get points for leveling up champions as well. So the idea is come into the game. The way that it's tuned is basically if you play for roughly half an hour, almost anywhere, you will complete the event every day. So this is basically, again, aligns closely with the design goals I talked about. And it's really a trend in mobile games right now to move more of the game's reward budget into sort of these baseline engagement mechanics and away from complex modes. And so this is a movement in that direction. If we decide to move more permanently in that direction, I would intend to move even more of our reward budget into this event. And this is, just due to the fact that it's a challenging world right now with the way the economy is going. People are working more. People also just have less cognitive space to give to games. And
I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I'm so tired, John.
And so we really just want to make things simpler for players. And the idea is come into our game every day, play it however you want, and you'll make some progress. Another thing that's, I think, really important and really big, not just for the game team, but for players, is that if we consolidate all these different mechanics into one, it's going to be way easier for us to keep the stuff up to date.
That was so disruptive. I'm so sorry.
Jackson's just pouring water on his computer. Don't worry.
I needed it.
Yeah, it's going to be way easier to keep the stuff up to date. So, some of these mechanics were out of date when I joined the game team 2.5 years ago, haven't been updated since, because there's always something more important to work on than some of this stuff. But if we were to move forward with something like this more permanently, I would expect that we would be able to update at least a couple times a year. So it would be much more up to date for players.
Yeah, in terms of keeping things up to date, when we pull, we'll show you guys the list in a moment here of all the things that we're going to be pulling together into one. To update each of those individually and considering this value in the budget and the economy and those types of things of our game, that becomes so challenging to balance, right? Whereas pulling everything into one makes it a lot easier for you guys to update things overall, which I think is cool. I think another really fun thing about this daily super event is you alluded to it in that you're being rewarded just for playing and engaging however you want to. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Fortnite, but one of the things that does incredibly well, it rewards you for doing everything. It's like, hey, you ran 1,000 steps, congratulations. And I'm like, did I really accomplish anything? But cool, thank you for rewarding me for the things I'm already doing. So that's kind of not intentionally, I'm just drawing that parallel. That was not designed, that was not in the case study, I imagine. But I do like that we're just saying, hey, show up, come and hang out with us, play the game that you enjoy, however you want to play it, and here are some more rewards for you guys. So I think that's awesome. Perfect. Let's take a look at everything that's going to change here. Let's pull in a question here from D. McKay 86. Will this new daily super event get rid of the units and revives in the 22-hour event? Again, also a question here from IV Havoc VI. Will this event help players get revive potions? I really want to tackle heavier content like the Necropolis. Let's discuss a little bit here what we're pulling away and what the rewards are going to look like.
Absolutely. So I will answer both those questions in detail starting on the next slide. But first, we're going to talk about the things that are going away. So the 22-hour solo event, both the milestones and ranked rewards, the 7-hour solo events, both the milestones and ranked rewards, the 24-hour logging crystal. There will still be a logging crystal daily in the web store for you to collect, but the one in game will be going away. The 4-hour logging crystal. The 4-hour logging crystal as it currently exists will be going away, but we have added 4-hour logging crystals to the rewards. We'll talk about that in a second. The daily objectives, weekly objectives, and the weekly login calendar. So the way this is going to work is when this event goes live, all of these things will come down. We will run the test for 4 weeks.
Before you go, if I can interrupt you here, because I see people going up, you're not listening. These are going away, but the rewards are getting easier for you to acquire. You just basically have to show up and play, and you will get all of the rewards that would be the equivalent of the rewards that would be in these events, easier, simpler. It's going to be a lot easier for you. I know change can be challenging. I understand change can be scary, but we're not just taking it away and they're not just gone, okay? When we said it on the previous slide, I need you guys stay with us here because we're going to show you all of the rewards and they are better.
So I understand this is a very big change. It is a scary change, probably for a lot of players. That is why it's not permanent to start. That is why we're running it as a test to begin with. If it goes very poorly, then probably we'll come up with a different idea to try to simplify this stuff. But I personally am very excited for it. So let's, again, the devil's in the details. Let's talk about the rewards.
All right. So we're going to start all the way at uncollected. We're going to move up one at a time here. This is how this is structured. You are getting everything from each of these milestone tiers, and the last one in milestones 2 and 3 are selectors. John, walk us through the decision-making process and what stands out to you here.
Sure. So let's talk generally about sort of the rewards that are structured the same for all the different progressions. Normally we start at the top and work our way down with rewards. We're going to start with uncollected this time and work our way up.
Sorry, the way we just 180'd everybody. I told you to listen. I told you to trust us, and I appreciate you because it went from no, oh my God, to yes, woo, this is better.
Yeah. Okay, so first up, 4-hour login crystals. You will see they still exist. They now are in this event instead of on a login timer. We know players value being able to hold on to those until they want to use them, so those are still in here. The units, there were 25 units every roughly 23 hours in the 22-hour solo event. Technically, the daily login crystals can also drop units, but it's very, very rare. So there were somewhere between like 26 and 27 units on average available in this stuff every day. Now there's 30, we rounded it up to 30, so there's a few more every day. And again, instead of having to go play Arena when you don't want to, or play the event quest when you don't want to for the 22-hour solo event, you can just come and play however you want, and you're going to collect these units every day. There is the Revive and the Health Potion are still here from the 22-hour solo event. You'll notice that it's a level 2 Revive for all progressions now. I believe the 22-hour solo event was still a level 1 Revive for some of the lower progressions. Uncollected is going to get a guaranteed 1,000 6-star shards a day. So if you're an uncollected player, this is a 6-star champion every 10 days, just for coming into the game and playing.
I did see the question, is this every day? Yes, this is every day between June 24th to July 22nd. There's a lot of very cool stuff here. Again, excuse me. There are 7-star shards up for grabs for uncollected people. I think you kind of explained it well, and maybe you can kind of circle back, because you explained it to me in a way that I went, oh, but there's like horizontal progression versus more vertical progression. Can you kind of touch on that for our people?
That's right. So for all of the different progressions of this event, in the second milestone, there is a selector that we are basically considering a horizontal progression selector. This is stuff that you probably just need more of to broaden out your roster. For uncollected, it's like 6 tier 4 basics in a day, or 6 tier 4 class katas in a day.
It's nuts.
It should be a massive boost to horizontal progression at these lower progressions. And then in the third milestone, there is a selector that we're considering more of a vertical progression selector. For uncollected, your choice between a small amount of guaranteed 7-star shards. This will be the only real regular source for 7-star shards for most uncollected players.
Yeah, because you don't need that money. You'll get up there. You'll catch up.
I mean, even still, if you just come and play every game, you're going to start working on your 7-star collection.
It's awesome.
Or
it's
some
so
6-star
cool.
signature stones, or part of a tier 5 class catalyst. So
I'm pretty sure when we gave away the first ever 7-star champion, I'm pretty sure they were uncollected, which was awesome.
It was Terrax, right?
Yeah.
I remember
yeah.
That's great. Yeah, so that's uncollected. You'll see as we move on to Cavalier here. The basic structure of the event is exactly the same. You have the 4-hour login crystals, you have the consumables, you have the units, you have an increasing number of 6-star shards, and then you have your horizontal progression selector in milestone number 2. You have your vertical progression selector in milestone number 3. Again, 200 7-star shards a day for Cavalier players if they choose to select it. I suspect they will. We know basically whenever we offer choices like this, players generally prefer champion shards to everything else.
Every time.
Because opening crystals and collecting champions is really fun.
It is. It's the most fun.
Just more of the same. Again, more 6-star shards here. A pretty substantial additional value for Cavalier players.
All right, I think that's great. Again, Cavalier, we're seeing people being like, whoa, that's just uncollected. Whoa, that's just Cavalier. Let's keep it rolling here into Thronebreaker.
Absolutely. So Thronebreaker, again, structure is exactly the same. Thronebreaker players are getting 2,000 6-star shards a day. So one new 6-star every 5 days, just for logging in and playing the game. 300 7-star shards if they choose to pick it from the vertical progression selector. That is more than a 6-star dupe every day with the shards. They also have tier 3 alpha, tier 6 basic added to their horizontal progression selector. It's a pretty big deal. You can get 2 tier 5 basics a day if you want. Yeah, pretty solid value for Thronebreaker as well.
No, it's great, and it's worth pointing out, again, concerns about revives and potions and units, and they're all here. Like you said, units are actually increased in what you can get kind of on a day-to-day thing. There's some strange math around a 22-hour event, technically being more than one a day, but you're getting 5 more per day from this anyways, so that's great. Question here from Heron777, will the 4-hour crystals that we have saved, will they be removed?
They will not be.
They will not.
Everything that you currently have saved will stay. It's just the mechanics for acquiring them will change.
Yeah. None of this is meant to take anything away from you guys. I want that to be very, very clear. And maybe saying things that will be removed was maybe we could have feathered that a little bit more. But none of this is to take things away from you guys. This is to shift things to make it much easier and much more clear and rewarding for you. So I'm excited for you guys to get this. Let's keep it going here. Paragon.
I see questions in the chat. That is not tier 7 basic. It's more tier 6 basic. Some of the selectors ended up a little bit weird. Again, it's only a 4-week test. They will be changed up if we do launch something permanently. So things with Paragon, one thing major that changes, they now get guaranteed 7-star shards in their third milestone, 375 a day, which again is a decent chunk. And then they start to see tier 6 class catalysts in their vertical progression selector, and they have a choice between a small amount of Titan shards every day or a large helping of generic 6-star signature stones.
I know, this looks really great. And again, myself as a Paragon, I think you guys are achieving the goals that you're setting out to right now. In terms of clarity, instead of me going in and having to do like complex scheduling and being aware of which 22-hour events rolling in and catering my behavior to the game, this is so much easier for me to just show up and be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to play and roll through, and we're going to do this. So I'm really excited for it. We'll get to Valorant in just a second. A question here from Toxic X Risk over on twitch.tv/kabam, where you can also be asking questions. Asks, when do these updates drop in game? This is going to be June 24th through July 22nd. John keeps iterating and saying, mentioning and saying that, this is a test. And I think we've seen some commentary in the last little while here about Kabam's doing tests on us. That's just the nature of data, and if we don't like the term test, maybe we can find something else for you guys. But realistically, that's what we do. We put out changes, we examine the data, we consider and weigh the sentiment, we see how people are reacting, what they feel about it, and then we make changes. That's just the nature of game dev in a live service game. Valiant.
Valiant, yes. So Valiant players, you'll see they get a larger helping of 7-star shards. So this is, if you do the math, this is a 7-star every 20 days, just by logging in and playing the game how you want. A bunch more stuff in that horizontal progression selector. And then when it comes to the milestone 3 selector, there's a larger amount of Titan shards, some tier 4 alpha, or I suspect this will be the choice for most players. There is 1 class 7-star signature stone every day if you choose that.
Yeah,
just for logging in. It's the only regular source of this stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 7-star 6 stones are not very common. They're not very frequent that we see them. I think was the first time when we did the Ex Magica 7-star 6 stones. Was that our first SIG stone
That's
availability?
Yep,
so
correct.
it's new. There's not a lot of them, and we're going to be giving away 1 a day. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I think some players will probably take the Titan shards as well, because this, again, you multiply all these things by 30, and you're going to see that over the course of the month, this stuff really, really starts to add up. I personally will probably be taking the 6 stones, but I think there's a argument to be made for either of the other things in that selector as well.
Yeah, no, I think that is that's awesome. I believe that's our last slide on the daily super event. Again, everyone get excited for this June 24th through July 22nd. Again, that's why we took the time to do a second stream, as this is more timely. This is on approach here in the next couple of weeks, something that we think you're going to be very excited for. We just had so much coming this month. We talk on occasion, John, about the ebbs and flows of the contest and how things can't just be pedal to the metal, foot on the floor 100% of the time, or that becomes the new norm and there's no levels of peaks of excitement. I don't think that our game ever gets boring, which is super fortunate, but I think this is a very, very exciting thing for people to get their hands on coming up here as well. Is there anything else that you want to add about the super event?
I don't think so. I see the question in chat is removing the daily crystals only for uncollected and above, or for everyone. So all of these changes are only for uncollected and above.
Yes. Yes.
To start with.
to start with.
Probably if we move forward with the system like this permanently, we will explore expanding it to the lower progressions as well, but for now it's uncollected and above.
Right. So I see people already, Meg Stwe. If your name's just a collection of letters, I'm just going to start spelling it because this is getting tough for me. But it says, make this permanent, please, which is great. A massive W here from Evan L09. Again, I like that people are very quickly turning around on this. But again, consider it the same way that, like, if you guys were concerned about it, we would say, hey, wait, get your hands on it. Make sure, you know, we think you're going to like it. It's the same on this side. Like, let's not jump to conclusions. This is something that we're doing as a one-time thing for now. We're going to collect data, and we're going to be paying attention to the feedback from you guys. So I think what happens so often is we hear a ton from people that are frustrated or don't like something. If you like this change, please let us know. Find us in our forums, find us in our Discord, discord.gg/Marvel Champions. Come to our spaces, go to Twitter, go say hey to Jorge, our social media manager on Instagram, any of those spaces, and tell us that you enjoy this, because we need to weigh the positive and the negative. Yes, we use data, but our job is to also weigh the sentiment. What are you guys saying? What are these conversations? How are you feeling about things? We want to know, and it's great. We're very grateful that we have this feedback loop of if something's frustrating you, we're here to discuss it in some capacities. We're listening. We're always paying attention, even if it doesn't seem like we are. We talked a little bit on the last stream about how as we're in a bit of a transitional phase, things might be a little bit slow in terms of just one-to-one communication, but we're always paying attention to these things. So please, if you like this stuff, when you play it, tell us about it. We love that feedback, and I love to be able to take it and go to the game team and yell at everybody like, woo! Yeah. They love your work. So please let us know.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a bunch of questions in chat about how long it's going to take to complete this event every day. As I think I said earlier, the way that it is tuned is to take roughly half an hour of playing the game. So the way that it worked was we looked at the data for how many fights players were completing in different game modes in half an hour.
Yeah.
And we tuned it so that the points that you get from fights in various game modes is aligned with that. So it's going to take roughly half an hour. I believe it's like you win 2 Battlegrounds matches and you get all the milestones. It's going to be obviously a lot more arena fights than 2. But yeah, it's roughly half an hour play a day. And again, you can supplement it with still getting points for leveling up champions as well.
Yeah, I think this is going to be awesome. I think this is a big win for everybody. I'm very, very excited. I think the end of June is going to be a very exciting time in the contest. So make sure that you guys are hanging out there every day. I know we already have the summer double track event, the Plat Pass, all of that's a very exciting thing as people are starting to chase Beta Ray Bill. Shout out to the Space Horse. I think it's a great time to hop into the contest here. So that's not all. Again, we're going to transition here into a new topic. If you are here and waiting for the promo code, thank you very much for hanging. We will be showing it off at the end of this at the end of the show here. We've got one more topic to discuss, so hang out for that. It is a limited time promo code, so please sit tight for that. If you're watching anywhere else, we encourage you to come and hang out on twitch.tv/kabam. That's where we're doing our engagement, where we're reading the chat, where we're taking our questions, and where we'll be doing giveaways in the future as we have in the past. So we are going to move on to something new. This is okay, this is important. This is important, and this is the something new. I don't know why I sounded like it wasn't. As of Friday, June the 21st, we are doing another supply drop, which is our more fancy version of the login calendar, right? A lot more pretty, a lot more involved, a lot more, I just think it's awesome. It's a cool change that we've made in the last year. So again, Friday, June 21st to Friday, June 28th. Just for logging in, we've got some awesome stuff for you, all right? And this is the first time you're gonna see this, and the rest of this stuff. This is all brand new information. So here is a look at your push further supply drop. So Paragons and Valiant are getting one run here, and Conquerors through Thronebreaker are getting a separate one. There is some big stuff on the line just for showing up for this week. The end of June is going to be everyone's going to feel flush with wealth. There's a lot going on here. John, what stands out to you on these lines here?
Yeah, I mean, for just logging into the game every day for 7 days, obviously there's a lot of really good stuff here. Full 7-star at the end for Paragon and Valiant players. Full Ascension, full Tier 6 class catalyst, some new fancy Valiant crystals. And then for Conqueror to Thronebreaker players, guaranteed 6-star at the end, full Tier 5 class catalyst selector, a bunch of Tier 2 alpha, Tier 5 basics. So between this and the daily super event, As you
My
said,
goodness.
starting with the last week of this month, things are going to get very spicy leading into July.
Yeah, I think this is going to be awesome. Again, just for coming to hang out. And correct me if I'm wrong, John. Maybe you're not even the person who has the answer to this. But previously, with a login calendar, if you miss a day, some of them reset. But I believe that each day on the supply drop, you get that day. So if you miss 4, those rewards are gone. But you're getting day 5. Is that correct?
That is how the supply drop works, I believe.
All right, great. I think that's a little bit less friction for people to get in there and grab what they want. And realistically, like you said, people are busy. It gets difficult for people to show up every day. I understand that, sure. Now you can kind of pick and choose if you really needed to prioritize that amount of time.
The supply drop is not every week. This is just a special thing.
Yeah, this is a 7-day supply drop. Again, let's go back to the dates because this is going to be important here. June 21st to June 28th is going to be the supply drop. This is not running the same amount of time as the super event. These are 2 separate things that do overlap for a few days. So again, 2 separate dates. 24th is the start of the daily super event, and the 21st through the 28th is the push further supply drop. So again, one more look at these. This is awesome. I think back to myself, because I've only been a Paragon for a little while, but I think back to my Thronebreaker time. If I'm Thronebreaker, that is still very enticing. Those are still very cool rewards that I'd be very excited to have. And then anyone below Thronebreaker gets the same stuff is awesome. We've talked about this concept in the past that a strong summoner celebrates other people's opportunities to grow. You know what I mean? And instead of saying, oh, well, Thronebreaker gets the same stuff as Conqueror, no. Conqueror gets the same stuff as Thronebreaker, and those lower level people can maybe accelerate and catch up and hang out with the rest of the people who've been playing this game for years. So I think that's awesome. Okay, moving along calendar-wise. Oh, I did put it in twice. So I set it up for success, and then I went backwards on it. Go me, go past me. So we got something new for you guys here. This is the Sinister Sentinel Sideshow. I'm going to talk to whoever named that one, because they knew. They knew. Maybe this is main character syndrome, but they knew I'd have to say it out loud. And I don't want to point fingers here, but maybe they did it on purpose. So the Sinister Sentinel Sideshow is something coming at the end of the month. John, do you want to dive into it with a bit of an overview here?
Sure. So this is our summer sale, our big summer sale that we're going to be getting into the final day of that supply drop login calendar. So there's a reason that we're leading into this. And yeah, it's going to be a big deal. So I have been on this stream a lot. When we launched Acropolis, I came on and I talked about how we sort of intentionally planned the game's economy and how we had planned for an Acropolis to be the star of the show. And so, you know, Cyber Week was deliberately tuned that way. The banquet event was deliberately tuned that way, and the spring sale was deliberately tuned that way to continue to place the focus on Acropolis for, it was 7 or 8 months. Now we're sort of coming out of that period, and so the balance of rewards in the game will start to shift a little bit back towards offers. I'm not saying that it's shifting all the way to offers, certainly, but we're moving back a little bit, and so this Sinister Sentinel Sideshow...
Isn't that fun?
It's a blast. It will be the highest value sale since last year's July 4th. And by that, I mean summoners will get the most for what they're willing to spend.
Yeah, again, we talked about it last stream. We talk about it frequently that myself as a community manager, it's not my responsibility to come in and tell you guys to go and buy a bunch of stuff. I just want you guys to play the game. We're giving you a brief overview. We're not going to dive deep into this by any means, but we just want to make you aware of what's coming, what to expect, and how to get involved if you would really like to.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the format here. So the format is very, very similar to last year for most progressions. From proven to uncollected, they're going to see a new concept sale format in the cash offers. Basically, they're going to see tailored offers to each progression designed to help them push to the next progression. So that's a new sort of concept that we're running. We'll see how it goes. Last year, we did have the web store, but we didn't have the ability to share limits between the game and the web store. And so you were able to buy 4 of most of the cash offers in the game and 1 in the web store for a limit of 5. The intent was always to move back to a limit of 4 for all of these major sales once we got the technology to share those limits. So now with shared limits, it will be limit 4 for most offers, so that's a change from last year, down 1 for those offers. And then the Tier 4 offer this year will be different than the Tier 8 offer. And by that I mean you're able to spend units through those flash offers twice, and the final offer in that ladder will be different the first time through compared to the second time through. In terms of free stuff, there's a free copy of up to 6-star Mr. Sinister, depending on your progression in the web store. He has recently been buffed, and he is absolutely cracked
People
now.
seem really excited about that. So just show up to the web store. That's how during this time.
I see someone in chat saying he's so mid. He is not. You tell me you don't play Mr. Sinister without telling me you don't play Mr. Sinister.
He got a buff. People are excited. Get on board.
He is jacked now. So free 6-star copy. 7-star doesn't exist yet, but yeah, free 6-star in the web store. And then finally, like last year, there is a solo event attached to the larger event. That's basically just going to track unit spend, and if you make your way to the top of that solo event, as players have already speculated and figured out, there is a free, well not free, but guaranteed 7-star Wolverine Weapon X at the top of those offers.
So that's a first time appearance for Weapon X, which I think is very, very awesome.
He has aged fantastically, by the way.
He's still a menace.
And he's having a little bit of a resurgence as an attacker as well. So yeah, I'm quite excited for this.
I have a 5-star one that I got a couple years ago that I've ascended and stuff. And even a 5-star ascended one still clutches me a couple matches here and there every season in Battlegrounds. The Attack Man, which I hope is a lacrosse reference, but I doubt it is, says, does this replace July 4th offers? July 4th is a concept in that I don't know the last time we've named something the July 4th sale. This is the equivalent of that this year.
Yes,
so
I call it the summer sale.
The summer sale, right? Yeah. Again, also super Americana. We're a Canadian company. There's a lot of stars and stripes here.
It's so the overall concept of this event is themed around sort of a carnival. You know, arcades, Murder World carnivals, and so I believe this represents sort of the inside of a circus tent. Okay,
and there's only circuses in America.
That's correct.
All right, that brings us to the end of our slideshow there. Again, a lot for people to be excited about. I hope that you guys are. Again, after the last stream and all of the changes for this saga, I think there's a lot to be pumped about. And then, you know, again, today we've now discussed changes to the Battlegrounds structures. It is also worth mentioning that we are continuing to tinker with matchmaking. That's all we'll say, because we can't say more for you guys, because as soon as we do, everybody tries to exploit it. That's the basic truth of it, is as soon as we tell you all how matchmaking works, everyone tries to manipulate it. But it is worth, you know, continuing the conversation that we are continuing to pay attention and continuing to reiterate and make changes and try to find a happier medium for everybody. So I am very much looking forward to everybody getting into Battlegrounds for Season 19 next week on Wednesday. We've got the super event starting on the 24th. We've got the Sinister Sentinel Sideshow at the end of the month. That begins on June 28th. So get excited for all of these things. All right, we are going to give away a promo code in just a moment. Before we do, we're going to play a little bit of games. We're going to play a game with everybody. We're going to play a game. Okay. Yeah. We've got a little bit of time here, and then we'll give away our promo code here. I have challenged John to a game of MCOC 20 questions. I will be completely honest in saying that this is an idea borrowed from one of my favorite podcasts from IGN called Game Scoop. They do video game 20 questions. It's very impressive. And I said, hey, we've got impressive people too. What do we know more than anything? We know champions. So, summoners hanging out in chat, I want you all to play along. John will be your champion, so to speak. I have selected a champion from our game. John has 20 questions, yes or no questions only to narrow down and guess. We do play do or die. If you get it wrong, you lose.
Sounds good.
And the stakes are high because if John doesn't get it right, no promo code, it's canceled.
Oh, no.
That's a joke because
Oh, no.
could you imagine?
Can you imagine?
Could you imagine? So again, for a little bit of guidance here, 20 questions, yes or no, 19 questions and a guess. 20th, if we get that far, is going to need to be the guess. I think the longest we've run is 14 or 15.
Okay.
I think the fact that there's only 270 something answers is definitely going to work in your favor here. Again, I'll leave it to you how we plan to go, how you strategize. If you need some advice or help, I can lend it to you. But we do have a ton of very, very knowledgeable, very invested summoners. So please help John out. If you've got questions that you think can narrow it down, remember, yes or no questions only. And we can start questioning whenever you are ready.
Sounds good. This is my first time playing a game on stream, despite
It's
the fact I've been
exciting.
here a lot. Okay, so first question, I think it's an obvious one, and I've seen past guests play this game, and I think they have the strategy wrong
Oh, you've got notes.
for this. So, is this champion a skill, science, or mystic champion?
I like what you're doing here. I like what you're doing. Skill, science, or mystic? Yes.
Okay, is it a science champion?
Is it a science champion? Yes. You got there
right.
quick.
So
you got class in two questions.
The most it can take is 3.
Exactly.
If
See,
you,
I
if
knew
you do it this
John's
way. Yeah.
smart, you guys. Anytime we
Yes.
bring John on, he shares knowledge. He shows off his knowledge. This is it.
Yeah, you got to ask about 2 classes or 3. Both of them require at most three guesses. Okay, so next, is this champion available as a 7-star?
I think no. I think no.
Okay.
But I'm just looking at the champ description page, so I have pulled this champion up in a different rarity. I think no, but if you want me to double check, you'll have to close your eyes and I can get on my laptop. I'm pulling from the information page.
Okay.
I'll tell you this, not on my 7-star roster.
Okay.
I only have 8.
I'm going to assume the answer is no, and then if it's yes, it's just your fault that I don't get it right at the end.
Yep. Someone asking, Shiganas, how does Jax not know? I only have 8 7-stars, everybody. I'm a young Paragon account. I'm catching up. We're learning together. I'm growing. It takes some time, and 7 stars are not that prevalent in my day-to-day gaming experience here.
Okay. Has this champion been featured in any MCU movies?
Yes. MCU movies. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I like that. I like that line of thinking. I like that approach to it. Also, you can always.
Is this champion a villain?
No.
They would have the villain tag specifically.
Oh, then definitely no.
Definitely no.
I was getting into deep philosophical. That's 5 questions. Also, keep in mind you can always phone a Finton. He's over there. Finton's always
sounds good.
very helpful.
Chat. Giving me specific champions is not.
Remember,
is,
guys,
it's not helping here. I need
questions.
I need questions.
Questions. Finton, you got anything?
Do they have a cape or anything?
Do you want to use Finton's question?
Yeah, let's go with that. Do they have a cape?
Does this champion have a cape? They do not.
Okay. Is this champion large or extra large in size?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So who do we have that would be that? We have Gladiator Hulk. We have Immortal Hulk. We have... No, see, Overseer is available. I-Bomb's a villain, I think.
A lot of just champ
Murdoch's a
suggestions
villain.
in chat. We appreciate it. Questions, definitely. We can narrow it down because remember, again, if John just takes one of your suggestions and guesses and gets it wrong, game over. No promo code. That's a joke. But questions. Help them narrow it down.
Does this champion have a helmet?
Does this champion have a helmet? I like where you're going with this. Yes, they do.
Okay, so that should give chat a good idea here.
Does it have a helmet? That's a great question. we've got a question you can see on the monitor to the right there from one of our mods. If you'd like to borrow it,
Sounds
it's up
good.
to you.
I'm going to ask, though, is this champion green?
Is this champion green? Yes.
All right, Chad. Is there anyone besides Gladiator Hulk that meets these things?
There's a lot happening. You guys are blowing up the chat, and we appreciate you. Again, if you're here, you're trying to play along with us, twitch.tv/kabam.
Trust Chad. Is it Gladiator Hulk?
Is it Gladiator Hulk?
Well, what's that? It's Gladiator Hulk is his name, right?
Is it?
Yeah. Well, that's what everyone calls him anyways.
Right.
Hulk Ragnarok?
Locking it in?
Locking it in.
Is it Hulk Ragnarok? Yes.
Yeah.
In 10 questions.
Let's go.
John and Summoners,
Thanks, Jack.
congratulations, everybody. That was a big team effort here. Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
I think
he is not available as a 7-star,
That's what I
you
thought.
were correct.
That is what I thought. The reason it gave me pause was we went to the arcade Saga's badging, and I know he was on that one, and we have a very similar asset for our Titan pool rotations, and I was like, which one, the honeycomb, right?
Yeah.
Which one is he
I
a part
believe
of?
all of the Hulks except him and Immortal Hulk are currently 7 stars. I believe,
Cool.
But he is
That's awesome. Yeah. I remember 7-star OG Hulk got a little bit of spotlight during Battleground Brawl last year, which was cool. Seeing people play at the top level is just always exciting.
Yeah,
Super rad.
he has been one of our very successful reworks, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks to Kabam John for that one.
Woo! All right, everybody, we are going to open things up. We are going to give you a promo code in just 1 second here. A reminder, there's a chance that we overload the servers for our web store. If that happens, please be patient. Try and log in again later in time. If you have any issues with your account, please contact Xsola support. We know we're aware of issues where people change their email with their Kabam ID, but not their Xsola connecting account. So that's something we're aware of that needs to be handled through Xsola as well. We're going to throw this code up on screen right now, James, whenever you're ready. Please go to, sorry, not at the Discord there. You're going to go to store.playcontestofchampions.com, and you're going to type in June 14 live stream. Again, store.playcontestofchampions.com. If we can get that URL tagged in to pinned in our chat as well. I know the code is there, but again, just so everybody knows, store.playcontestofchampions.com. You can also join us over in our Discord spaces. We were there at discord.gg/Marvel Champions. Do not put it into our chat here because that's not how it works. Store.playcontestofchampions.com. Log in and put in June 14 live stream. We've crashed the website, to be expected. Please take your time. This will be available for 24 hours. Share it with your friends. Please be patient with the website. It tends to break things. I understand.
The code is case sensitive, I believe.
It is, but then it's also not. Our team circled back.
Not? Okay.
It was when we talked about it, but the team circled back and they were like, "Hey, let's remove this potential friction point for people." Again, June 14 live stream. Do not include the brackets or the quotation marks. I understand. Guys, I need you to listen right now. I keep seeing people saying incorrect code. Make sure that you're typing it in correctly. Do not include the quotation marks, but also the system's overloaded, so if it throws up error messages, what do? We come back later. I understand. We've broken it. It happens. We'll do it. It's 24 hours. You've got plenty of time. Be patient. Come back. It's free stuff. There's Legends crystals in there and a champion giveaway, which is cool. I know some people have reported being able to collect it, so it's working. We'll just make sure. Please follow up in the Discord, discord.gg/Marvel Champions. That's our community space where we do a lot of our communications there as well. So if we have any updates on this sort of stuff, we will send you that information there. John, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Always a pleasure.
It's my pleasure.
As the person who is now the record holder for most guesting, you can take anything off of the shelves. One thing.
Incredible.
One thing. You pick it.
That is an amazing
there you
prize.
Go.
Yeah.
There you go. Except the Spider-Punk comic, that one's mine.
Okay, sounds good.
But anything else you want, maybe. I don't know. None of it's actually mine to give away. But
I'm taking the egg on mask for sure.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
I've tried to put it on. It's too small. July 5th, we will be returning with our next official live stream. We'll be talking about July's content, potentially some of the narrative stuff for the latter half of the year, and some other goodies that we have yet to lock down. So please come on back. Twitch.tv/Kabam is going to be your spot for all of the giveaways, for the conversation, for the Q&A, and more. So make sure that you create an account and you are following us here. A massive shout out to everybody who made this episode possible. A big shout out to James and Finton working behind the scenes on the tech side of things. Again, we talked about it earlier in the month, but we are going through some growing pains, some transitional phases, and they have both been working very, very hard to make sure that these streams can happen and do happen and look good in the process. So a big shout out to you guys. Also a thank you to people like Sarah, to our mods in the chat, to everybody making this happen except Lyndon, especially because he left, so that's fine too, especially not him, I guess, at this point in time. Again, we'll be back on July 5th. Please get excited for the things coming to the contest later this month, the changes to Battlegrounds, the daily super event, and the Sinister, Sentinel, Sideshow. Lots to be excited about. We will see you in all of our other community spaces. We'll be back on July 5th. Until that time, my name is Jax. Have fun and play nice, everyone.